I'll say behind every global transformation, there's someone who sees the bigger picture. And we have that someone with us today. So let's all welcome Aparna Naveen.
Sustainably, the big world out there, and how do I make a difference to the people around me. So that's what really inspired me to say that there's no real formula to it, and that's what keeps it going, to say it's always new, it's always fresh, it never gets boring.
So you have worked a lot for the cultural transformations for various organizations. If we would like to know what was the biggest organizational challenge you have ever faced and how were you able to manage that?
I think in one of my roles, I remember when I was brought into that particular role, I was brought into a business which was loss making. Take that forward and make that change. So that organizational change where we made a 3-year roadmap as a team, we changed the entire leadership team. We took the people who would still willing to make that change and ambition to really go top in terms of the organization. We took all of them together, had those very heart-to-heart discussions. It's really the attitude that is key in terms of organization change, irrespective of the technical skills, etc. The right attitude team, if we are able to put that across together, then you can do wonders.
So how do you ensure that HR is seen as the business enabler rather than just a support function for the company?
See, I mean, most importantly, anybody on the table needs to be well prepared. And I think as HR, if we take the effort to understand the business, understand the pain points of the business. Therefore, you're not talking HR, you're really talking about how is it going to get money on the table, and then branch out to what does it mean for HR, what does it mean for any other function. That's where you can really make a difference. In the manufacturing setup, why don't we have a month where we call all the daughters in, and it was an engineering setup, so all the daughters in to do 1 week of internship. So, with that, there was a sense of pride in the father's face who were working over there, even the mothers. So to see your own daughter working in the manufacturing setup, even for that 1 week, tends to open up your eyes to say, hey, why not look at women even for A role, B role, C role from a field perspective. Countries like Philippines, Romania, and I think even Argentina has 90% women in their factories. Right. And UAE being UAE, if I take UAE as an example, there is plethora of opportunities to take talent from anywhere in the world.
A female should take a step forward if she really wants to achieve something. They have to break the barriers, they have to move forward towards that direction. And again, it comes from the organization as well. So it will go hand in hand only. Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Her Talks, a podcast by Women First Jobs. First of all, I want to say that we are really grateful for all the love and engagement you all are showing. If you want us to bring more stories of courage, resilience and dreams, so please keep on liking and subscribing our channel and spread the word about us. Thank you so much. If I'll say behind every global transformation, there's someone who sees the bigger picture. And we have that someone with us today. So let's all welcome Aparna Naveen. Hi Aparna, welcome to Her Talks.
Thank you. Thanks for the invite.
Would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Surely. So Aparna, as you know, I've been in the UAE, which is home today for me, a little over 18 years, and predominantly been in HR professionally. However, I started off with finance. I'm a finance background, and thanks to the predominantly worked in 2 or 3 companies in manufacturing setup majorly in the last 18 years. Just joined a company called SGS, and we are world leaders in testing, inspection and certification. It's a Swiss-based company. Prior to this, I was with a company called Wholesome, where I spent long years doing compensation in Europe, talent in Africa. I was lucky to hop over and have health and safety under me for some time. IT, marketing, sustainability, and even security at some point of time. So I've probably had the journey spread across, except for maybe, let's say, commercial. That's one tick I probably need to do. Spread across almost all the geographies between Asia, Europe, and Africa region. And I've also had from a personal side, I'm a trained classical dancer, so that's my deep down passion. Let's say.
Nice.
In terms of Indian classical art form, with 3 lovely kids who keep the challenge rolling. And that's been my journey till now, let's say, and looking forward to the next many years that's there for all of us.
And all the best to you for that.
Thank you.
So, you have spent over 2 decades shaping HR and governance strategies across various countries. What inspired you to pursue this path, and how has your journey evolved over time?
I think the moment that struck me was when I was doing my income tax calculations, and that 1 plus 1 is 2, and I realized somewhere that I don't want 1 plus 1 to be 2. That's what really got me into HR or topic with people where no situation has the same outcome. So that's what really inspired me to say that how can I make a difference in having a rational sort of discussion, and a discussion where we think about the long term, sustainably, the big world out there, and how do I make a difference to the people around me. So that's what really inspired me to say that there's no real formula to it. And that's what keeps it going, to say it's always new, it's always fresh, it never gets boring, let's say.
So, you have worked for UAE, Middle East, I would say,
Yes.
as well as various other countries, including Africa as well.
Yes.
So, how do you find that these markets are different as compared to the other countries?
I mean, see, normally we always compare, let's say, best practice with US or Europe, or maybe even India. India is also quite mature, of course. What makes it different is the cultural nuances that are there to it in Middle East and the Africa. I mean, there's plethora of opportunities where any practice that is done, if it works well, it can be easily cascaded to the entire world. So UAE, being UAE from the Middle East perspective, it's a fantastic place where you can test and sample, succeed and fail,
Right.
and you get that very, very openly and transparently, that you're able to cascade to others. So if I'm working in countries in Europe, which I have, which is quite mature as well, there are aspects that have been done and tested. But if you want to try anything new, Africa and Middle East has that roadmap where the road is still not yet been taken in many cases, let's say. So, I mean, I remember an example, let's say in Uganda, we tried some new initiative, and when it succeeded, it took a bit of time. When it succeeded, we were able to cascade that entirely to the group very, very easily. So the openness to try things, and wanting to achieve and wanting to be, top there, the top of the world is still there. The hunger is still there, let's say. So that's probably the opportunity.
So, you have worked a lot for the cultural transformations for various organizations. If we would like to know, what was the biggest organizational challenge you have ever faced, and how were you able to manage that?
Okay. I think in one of my roles, I remember when I was brought into that particular role, I was brought into a business which was loss making, and almost, let's say, locking down. So the challenge for me and the then managing director was to say, can we do a turnaround? And that's something, when I walked in, I remember that it was a legacy that we could create. An organization that had 25 years of history, successful history. Unfortunately, the last 2-3 years didn't go well. And how do we really take that forward and make that change? So that organizational change, where we made a 3-year roadmap as a team, we changed the entire leadership team. We took the people who would still willing to make that change and ambition to really go top in terms of the organization. We took all of them together, had those very heart-to-heart discussions. It's really the attitude That is key in terms of organization change, irrespective of the technical skills, etc. The right attitude team, if we are able to put that across together, then you can do wonders. And I still remember that story. It took us 3.5 years of a lot of work as a team. I still remember. And that particular business unit, after 3 years, was number one in its vertical in the group.
Nice.
So that was, and each of us still, even now, I think it was few years back, but even now when that leadership team meets, we're really proud of the fact that we did that together. And that was a happy moment, let's say.
You have partnered with the various boards as well as the C-suite executives globally. So how do you ensure that HR is seen as the business enabler rather than just a support function for the companies?
Okay. See, I mean, most importantly, anybody on the table needs to be well prepared. And I think as HR, if we take the effort to understand the business, understand the pain points of the business. Therefore, you're not talking HR, you're really talking about how is it going to get money on the table, and then branch out to what does it mean for HR, what does it mean for any other function. That's where you can really make a difference and not be reactive. So I always try to understand the core of the reason and then branch out to say, how can I as a function be proactive to that reason? So that's I would say a key factor.
Okay. So Aparna, we have a couple of rapid fire questions for you. So whatever first comes to your mind, you have to answer.
Okay.
What motivates you as a mother?
Motivates me as a mother. One word, is it?
One word would be good, or
One
maybe
word.
you can say in a sentence as well, no problem.
Happiness.
Okay. Is there any book you're reading currently?
I think the most recent book I read was a comic strip, Tinkle, with my kids.
Oh, nice. I think most of us, forgotten about it, right? I mean, yeah. That's wonderful.
We're just out of summer vacation, so
Yeah.
I've been reading a lot of comics with them.
Okay. Meditation or exercise?
I can very clearly say exercise. I'm still to get there for meditation.
Okay, nice. Let's jump back to the questions again. So manufacturing and tech, which is testing, inspection and certification industry, is historically a male-dominated sector. In your view, what is the biggest barrier preventing equitable gender representation in the shop floor and leadership roles?
I think, this is not just a top-bottom or a bottom-top approach. It's the entire society. And we are seeing this journey. We are seeing this journey very visibly changing in the last 10, 15 years, where we need and we have a lot more role models to talk about. From scientists to CEOs to people who are there leading the NGOs and startups, etc. as well. What's really important is that we continue to challenge, keep continuing to put faces that have made it, the so-called minorities, and keep showing that to people to inspire them. I can tell you, a small example. One of the team members, in fact, gave this idea that why don't we have, in the manufacturing setup, why don't we have a month where we call all the daughters in? And it was an engineering setup. So all the daughters in to do 1 week of internship. So, with that, there was a sense of pride in the father's face who were working over there, even the mothers.
Right.
So to see your own daughter working in the manufacturing setup, even for that 1 week, tends to open up your eyes to say, hey, why not look at women even for A role, B role, C role from a field perspective. Countries like Philippines, Romania, and I think even Argentina has 90% women in their factories.
Right.
So, and UAE being UAE, if I take UAE as an example, there is plethora of opportunities to take talent from anywhere in the world. So, for example, in the previous company, we had our first Omani driver in Oman. A very, very proud moment for her. Mother of 7, in fact, she is. So that is something which the entire organization worked towards. Yeah, you need to not be rigid. You need to be a bit flexible to understand the topics and issues and then make sure that it succeeds. One success will automatically help in enabling and multiplying other successes. So you need to really bring out those success stories and voice it to people to bring it on top of the head. That's really important.
So this rigidness which you just mentioned, this is coming from the people or from the industries or the people, those who want to move towards these industries. What do you think?
In terms of rigidness, I think, history always says that, or even as people, we always tend to rely on the past success. Right? So whatever was done 50 years back is not relevant anymore or has changed. So you are always looking at what made your organization or business successful, and that's why you are saying, okay, men can do let's say a night shift. Simple. And I remember in one of the functions we had a woman we had organized a pick up and drop for her just to ensure that there is comfort, and in this side of the world safety is not a question. Okay, thankfully. So that's something which is anyways automatically taken care of. So when you're a bit flexible, women can also do those jobs. And then it creates path for others to do as well. With digitalization and all those elements, it's even much more easier. So it's the push for the first success. And then, it becomes, I'm not saying it's so easy. It does take time.
Absolutely.
It does take its time. Night shift is a big question mark. In a lot of BPOs, it has happened when we have a lot of women who also are working night shifts, but many years back, it wasn't the case. So even in manufacturing setup, we do have a lot more women now, with the focus from the leadership to say we need our 30%, 20%, top, middle level, etc. We are being forced to think out of the box and get away from our, let's say, old successes and to start making new ones.
This is wonderful. So do you see any kind of a leadership gap in today's global workforce?
I think I see probably two. One is the gap between the maturity of emotional intelligence and technical expertise. As we grow, that gap needs to reduce between both. And that's still something that we are not focusing to develop. Because today's leader really needs to be comfortable with understanding and dealing with complex situations, multi-generational workforce, hybrid work environment. So these are elements where in the past probably not as much was there to be mentored by. So even today's mentors need to be very carefully looked at. For example, when I choose my mentor, when I speak with people, in some situations, I would rather choose a peer to be my mentor because he or she has probably gone through similar situations to brainstorm, rather than a mentor who's 10, 15 years senior to me, because that concept or that situation may not be similar. So to me, a lot of my mentors, honestly, have been my team members. The younger ones or my N-1s who really want to see us succeed, they are the ones who have really given me very hurtful feedback. We've had that very honest discussion. But they are truly my mentors because they are the ones I'm here. They are the ones who have pushed me up, let's say. So that's how I think.
Yeah, and I think the advice which you have just mentioned, most of the time we ignore this thing. We always look for a person maybe 10 years, 15 years, 20 years elder than us because we thought the plethora of experience they are bringing, which is right. But again, learning from the people, those who are working with you every day, I think they are the one who knows you very well.
Yeah.
So that's wonderful advice, I would say. So what role does visible leadership play in driving DEI? For instance, having diverse role models and mentors within manufacturing settings.
The key is to bring success stories and vulnerable stories as well. For instance, there is recently we had done a couple of months back, there is an organization that we had partnered with that has AI generated learning experience where you put in your, let's say, glasses, and you do a mock session of how do you deal with a situation, assuming you're a man, assuming you're a woman, assuming you're a young talent, assuming you're an old talent. Let's take these 4 examples. So the video automatically changes its reactions on how would the other person react if I was a woman. So for a man, we gave them the experience of how it would have been if you were a woman. So that particular gamification really opened up the eyes. And also to talk about your vulnerability, to talk about your success openly as an example, is something that helps people try new things and help people be open to new things, and from a D&I perspective as well, especially.
I've seen, I think, the not exactly similar, but somewhat in the same side as well. These kind of an experience. I mean, like, not through the VI, but maybe at the medical centers and all, where they ask you to sit on a chair and they put some devices on you, and then the guys had to face the same kind of a pain where
I've read
so
that, yeah.
I've seen those things as well. I mean, like, but this I think this is again a different way of looking at their life. Perspectives might change, and again I think it will help them as well to understand what a mom or what a working mom would feel like, or maybe dropping your child to a school and coming back to the work. So the situations and the scenarios what a woman is facing, I think so. It's a good.
I found that very interesting,
Yeah.
actually, because it's not just about from DE&I perspective. It's not just about women or young talent, but it's also about being a minority in whatever aspect. How do you how does it feel to be the only one around the table or around the discussion, and how do you ensure that it's not just inclusivity but also equity that's looked after, which is very, very difficult, which is something you need to constantly be aware. And I think the fact that we have a lot of families now, let's say, marrying within intercultural, international, that especially those children and the ones who have been brought up in UAE naturally have that awareness, which is a very good thing to have in an international setup.
So Aparna, how can organizations in manufacturing and tech industries actually overcome unconscious biases in recruitment, especially when technical roles are stereotyped as male jobs?
Yeah, I mean, I think as a leadership team, we need to be able to challenge what has been put as a path earlier and be flexible. So it's in terms of if you're talking from a gender perspective, women, it's the women who also need to be courageous enough to break the boundaries, and the organization to support that. So maybe 2 examples that come to my head. I remember one particular technical position that we've predominantly had only males in it. We hired somebody from Vietnam, and the lady came in leaving her family in Vietnam over here, and the discussion was that we would like you to succeed, we would like you, but to also take that step of courage. Her family was very supportive. We had a discussion with her family as well. She came in for the first 3 months. We got in her family after 3 months, so that there is a transition period. And post that, with her coming in, we added another individual, and this time from Africa. I think the lady came in from Africa, so where they were buddy to each other. To ensure that in that male-dominated function, they both were there. The male side of peers were given a lot of awareness trainings as well on how to help and have peer interaction. I think once that genuine effort is taken to say that, listen, we are doing this not just to tick the box of diversity, but to really say that this talent is good and we want her to have that space to blossom. And that's when we saw even the male peers really encouraging that. When you do that for a tick in the box, then it makes it worse.
Right.
So you need to ensure that genuine effort happens from the let's say the women's side and their families, because I remember this for this particular recruitment, it was not just her, we spoke to the entire family. And that was very, very important, that we have a buy-in for them to feel that we are genuinely making this effort, and we wanting her to succeed and become one day an operations director. Similarly, there was another example of a Zambia lady. I remember we got her in, 3 kids. They decided, of course, courageous from the family as well, where she came in with her 3 kids. Her husband was still in Zambia, okay, and they stayed a year apart.
Nice.
We said, let's see how it goes. We gave her that support. Her peers gave her that support. I remember even one of her children being in the hospital, and one of her male colleagues was in their house the whole night, to look after the other 2 kids. So this kind of bonding helps to create that opportunity, but even the women need to be there to take that step
Right,
forward.
absolutely.
So it works both ways. The first year was tough for her, and there is a lot of aspects that, of course, needs to have a pull and push. To stay away from the family is not easy, but they finally did it. The husband then as well eventually moved, or I think would be moving in as well over here, because we wanted to tell them that, hey, even if you do not succeed, we will still relocate you back. We will ensure you're back in the previous setup as well. Don't worry. We want you to succeed. So let's try this together. So I think you need to be flexible from a manufacturing, from a process perspective. But also for the women out there, you need to take the courage, take the jump. Worst come to worst, you may not succeed as fast as you think, but I can assure you, all the stories that I've seen till now have eventually succeeded. But it's for those who have taken that jump.
No, I think these are the wonderful advices, and you have examples as well, and you have correctly mentioned that it should be both the ends. A female should take a step forward if she really wants to achieve something. They have to break the barriers, they have to move forward towards that direction. And again, it comes from the organization as well. So it will go hand in hand only.
True.
Okay, so you have been at the table for big decisions with boards as well as with executives. What leadership qualities have helped you succeed in those high pressure moments?
I think probably 2 aspects. One is being prepared. Whatever the topic, however small the discussion is, 2 minutes, having a reflection and being prepared on the topic helps. And I think second most important is being confident to be vulnerable. Being confident to say, or being okay to say, I do not know. And for that as well, you need to be prepared.
Right.
So I think those are 2 elements that really needs to be constantly practiced in the head to make sure that you're adding value on the table.
And Aparna, how do you stay grounded and again prepare yourself as one of the wonderful leaders as well?
I'm not sure about a wonderful leader, but I think staying grounded for me is, you just simply need to look outside in the world, what's happening, and reach out to those people who you believe will give you true, honest feedback. And as I mentioned some time back, I constantly am open to listening to feedback that is, which I would completely disagree, which I would be hurtful, but that somehow helps me to reflect, or at least to agree to disagree. And there's so many beautiful things that are being done by so many different people, including yourself. So it keeps you grounded to say that there's so much more to do, and there's so much more to learn. So always constantly being with people who are doing many more new things, thinking differently, helps you remain grounded.
And I think this is a wonderful advice. Learn from the others.
Yes.
Absolutely. Okay, so if you could give one piece of advice to to women aspiring to become a great leader or maybe to an HR leader and to take the HR roles or business, what would it be?
There's one thing that I had learned from one of my earlier bosses. Yeah. And I remember him mentioning, Aparna, whatever you do in life, remember to look at your pie. Okay. Look at your performance. Understand the image that you're creating for yourself, and ensure that you have as much as exposure very in periodical basis. So the P and I and the E, as long as there's an equal space given to each of these elements, you will grow as a person. So that's something which is always stuck in my head, the pie.
This pie is very informative, I would say. Yes. So is there any piece of advice you would like to give to the women audience, those who are watching this podcast through this platform? Anything which is there to inspire to become a great leader, to manage the motherhood as well as work together? Or in a simple nutshell, I should ask, what keeps you motivated every day?
What keeps you motivated? I think having fun in whatever you do. Being a mother, being a wife, being an executive in an organization, doing business on your own. If you're having fun, that keeps it going. That keeps life going. And I think being authentic to yourself. You do not need to be like somebody else. Right. You need to understand what she or he has done to succeed, but make it your formula. So if success for somebody was coming every day to work and being committed, it may not necessarily mean that for you. So that's something which you need to very, very reflect back quite a lot on, to say that what really makes you have that fun, what makes you happy, and then you do it your own way to keep your value system. So that's what will keep it going, because if you do not have fun, ultimately you will be starting to sort of kill yourself out of boredom or whatever, but and also influence others, and very importantly our children, right? You want them to break the boundaries that you have had. So you want them to think beyond you, and the best way to do that is by having fun.
Absolutely. It's all about loving what you're doing. Yeah. But thank you so much, Aparna, for your precious time coming and discussing a lot. And I'm sure people are going to learn a lot, especially from that pie, which you just shared. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for inviting me in. Thanks.